Ladies and gentlemen, I would next like to introduce a very extraordinary individual. He was, in fact, the person who first conceived WAF in the sense of celebrating the very best food and water initiatives in the world. This man has been speaking about peace for over 50 years. In fact, since the time he was 4 years old. So please join me in welcoming the truly extraordinary Prem Rawat.
Your Highness, First Lady of Timor-Leste, Princess Zama Zulu, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, distinguished guests. It's a great honor for me to be here today at the WAFA Awards. I hope you're enjoying yourself. I think the performances have been quite exceptional, and especially the last one, two very intellectual people trying to talk about what happened today. It is true that we all have to make a difference. All of us. If we're waiting for the world to change, I'm afraid it's not going to change. If we're waiting for human beings to change, that's rather easy. Because there's 75 billion of them. And so the issue becomes, how did we get here? I know that they were talking about Tina not looking at the problems, but looking at the solutions. But I'm afraid I'm a pilot, and I do look at my messages and look at red lights and pay particular attention to the red ones. Because as the red lights are defined as continued flight after that red light comes on, can and will cause grievous harm to the participants, to the pilots, to the not only damage to the aircraft, but also the passengers. So if the world was an airplane and it had a dashboard, what kind of lights would be on? Would they be all green? Would they be all yellow? Or there would be tons of red lights flashing, going, something is amiss here. Something is wrong. On one hand, and please, I don't know how to put this. I don't want to mince my words. And I'm not against anything in per se, but I see this duality and I don't like it personally. So whatever I'm about to say is not to harm anybody, not to hurt anybody, it's just what I feel. And on one hand, I see countries developing and trying to beautify their cities, building incredible structures, and on the other hand, there is devastation of the very resources that we all rely on. All of us. All of us. Even though we have divided countries and we have lines that say this is this country, this is this country, nature does not understand those lines. Never has, never will. The air flows. It does not go first to the immigration office, show its passport, show a valid visa, pay the fees, and then go ahead and go into the next country. No, it flows. Water does not go to an immigration office or customs office and come to a stop and say, okay, here's my passport. This is what I'm bringing today. A lot of garbage that those guys dumped. I'm bringing it to your country. How much tax do you want to levy on this? No, it just simply takes it and brings it. A bird flies from one country to the other country without any regard for any of this. And of course, we know cockroaches. People tell me that I am a well-traveled person. And whenever I say that, I don't laugh, but inside I do, because I know those cockroaches have been doing a great job of it since a really long time. I'm just an amateur compared to them. They're professionals. And so I see this incredible duality that we have created. We weren't born with this. We have created this duality. We have created these differences. We have created these fractions. We have created these factions. And today, because of that, we have to live with the consequences of these. There was one word that was said today, and it's true. I mean, we need education in this world. But also there is another difference that I would like to bring up. I'm a thinker, so I'd like to bring that up. And I would like to bring an example of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was not very well educated, but he was very well a learned human being. He asked questions. He said, why is it this way? Why does a mountain look blue? I mean, why does a mountain look blue? All the artists painted green. But from a distance, why does a mountain look blue? And he said, haze. And he started to paint haze into his pictures, which ultimately, and he always wanted to be an architect, but his name to fame came not as an architect, but as an artist and a painter. And all that he had learned about the human reality, or reality of perception, he was able to put in Mona Lisa. Because he asked questions. We're not asking the right questions. Most of the world is waiting for some angel to drop down from the sky and fix our problems. We're all just biding time. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And how convenient. It's in all part of the world. Everybody is waiting. Every religion has one. Hang on, somebody will fix it. Everyone. So, what happens in the meantime? Resources are exploited. And nobody asks the question, how did we get here? Excuse me, why do we waste all this food? In the United States of America, they have farmland. They have taken land, fertile land, and converted it into literally a desert. And they bring on the water, and they try to grow the crops. And they have bugs. I mean, can you imagine through the evolutionary process, these bugs, right? These bugs, they have not acres and acres. No. They have miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of the same crop they love. At the same, it would be like somebody, a bug being born, and he looks out and he goes, I am in heaven. So, to kill these bugs, they have to make pesticides. So they make pesticides, and every year the bugs are smart enough We don't learn from the bugs. Bugs are smart enough, they adapt to the pesticides. So they have to make stronger pesticides. So they get to the point where the pesticide is so strong that it's killing the crop. So now what do? You come up with a new crop. Genetically modified, which is resistant to the pesticide. So they can keep increasing the toxicity of the pesticide so it can keep killing the bugs. And I'm like, this is brilliant. Very well educated, but very badly learned. No learning has occurred. Wars happen. That is a symptom. That is a symptom of unconsciousness. That is a symptom of a society all around the world saying, I would rather invest in weapons that will destroy us rather than invest in solutions that can save us. So that's brilliant, isn't it? And these people are very well educated. Some of them have double doctorates. But without a heart, a human being is incomplete. It doesn't matter how many books he has learned. There is a saying in Hindi, a bookworm does not become intelligent. Even though he lives in the books, he eats the books. I mean, he doesn't just read them, he eats the words. But that doesn't make him wise. What makes us wise? What has to happen? This issue comes up many, many times. What about something for the youth? What about this generation? And when I look at that question, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What is the point of this generation? The people who make the decisions, they're all much older. And you're not including them because they have to be included. They are the generals, they are the colonels, they are the presidents, they are the staff that lives there even as the presidents come and go. They are the ones who say, no, Mr. President, you can't do that. We have created the systems, and now we are reaping benefits, yes, and also reaping the consequences. Things are going to get worse and worse and worse. I live in California, and they say, everybody says this, we're running out of water. And I said, excuse me, have you looked around California? It's a desert. Do you know what the definition of a desert is? It has no water. It never had water. It doesn't have water today. It won't have water tomorrow either. And the population keeps increasing and increasing. I said, it's not the water. Don't blame the water. Blame the misuse of what little water the desert has. So, people are misinformed. The whole idea of WAFA, it's going to be called WAFA because we have added another category. This was standing before for Water and Food Awards, but now it's going to actually stand for Water, Air, and Food, or Water, Air, Food Awards. Those are three very important things for a human being to exist. And the innovations, this is to recognize those people who make the little innovations that have huge impact, that can have huge impact, and it is to encourage those people. You know, the fact of the matter is, we don't know how bad the story actually is. We don't actually know how bad the story is, because where the story is really bad, no reporters go there to find out. It's buried somewhere, and nobody knows. So, whole humanity has to be helped. All of us. We have to begin also by taking a look at each other and not taking a look at our religion, at our caste, color, clothing, thoughts, ideas, beliefs, wants, needs. Forget it. Next time you see a human being, give yourself a quiz. What did you see? And keep at it till the day your answer is, I saw a human being just like me. We're made out of the same thing. We're made out of the same thing. All of us, 6 things. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, calcium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Somebody, the day I was given the title Ambassador of Peace, I went back home and I looked at the person who was there, and I said, now you're going to have to call me Your Excellency, I'm an ambassador. I was just kidding. Because I know, if somebody calls me Prem Rawat, if somebody calls me Mr. Prem Rawat, if somebody calls me Your Excellency, if somebody calls me Hey You, or sometimes, my wife just calls me, hey, listen. So, my name is also, hey, listen. Do I change? I am the same person. I was born, I am alive, and one day I have to go. Those are the 3 segments of my story. But it's not about the day I have to go. This is what everybody is infatuated with. I don't really care about the day, because I don't even have to make that appointment. It's all about, whilst I'm alive, what difference can I make? How can I make my world? This is my world. This is my world. How can I make my world a better place? How can I bring smile to people's faces? And peace is just one part of it. Peace is very essential and very important, but also being aware and conscious about what you're doing in this world is also very, very important. Is the problem so big that it cannot be solved? Absolutely not, because every human being has the capacity in them to understand and to change and cause that change to happen. If we're talking about moving the orbit of moon, I think that would be a little bit more difficult. If we're talking about moving the sun a little bit further away, I think that would be very, very, very difficult. If we're talking about changing the ocean to fresh water, well, I think that's going to be a little tricky. But we're talking about something that is very changeable. Those same human beings in them carry, every human being, in fact, and this is what I have been saying of late, that every human being, 50% good, 50% bad, exactly 50%. Not 49, 51. Exactly 50%. Every single human being, 50% terrible, horrible, nasty, mean, stupid, to quote my grandson. And 50% good. What's the difference? What do you perpetuate? What do you water? What do you enhance? Enhance the good, good will grow. Enhance the bad, bad will grow. So far, we have been enhancing the bad, not the good. We have been telling people what they cannot do. We have to start telling people what they can do. We have to increase their understanding. We have to tell them. We have to empower people. We have to give people choice. That's your power. This is what Mark was talking about. Choice. Toke was talking about choice. I go to prisons. I see the inmates. What's the difference between, and I was saying this yesterday, I said, what's the difference between them and us? We're free, we're not in prison. What's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, they have a private toilet. They get 3 square meals. We have to go, we have to decide. They don't have to decide. They get 3 square meals, a very good security. We have to pay for ours. They don't need an alarm clock. We all do. What's the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. They don't have a choice. We do. Do we feel empowered by our choice? Do we feel empowered by our choice? Do we feel like, I exercised my choice today, I saved water. I exercised my choice today, I didn't waste the food. How does the food get wasted? Do you know it's so little that has to be done? Don't buy that orange unless you're ready to eat it. Because when that orange is sitting on that table in that bowl and it turns green on the other end, it goes. Whew. All you have to do is don't buy it till you are ready to eat it. This world, and I will keep it very short here. There's a little story I would like to tell. There was a guy, and he had these monkeys, and he loved his monkeys. And he took care of his monkeys, and he fed them very well, and he just had a beautiful relationship with his monkeys. The monkeys loved him as his father, and it was just great. Every day he'd come, and they'd watch, he'd give them food. And one day he fell on hard times. So he fell on hard times, and he went to the monkeys and said, I'm really, really sorry. I'll only be able to give you 3 buns in the morning and 4 buns at night. And the monkeys went crazy. Started screaming, yelling, protesting. And the guy said, okay. I'll give you 4 buns in the morning and 3 in the evening. And they became so happy. You know, it really reminds me of us. We just put something a little bit a different way and we get, yes! Einstein said, keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. That is the definition of lunacy. Dare I ask, do we keep doing the same thing year after 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 year? And is anybody here expecting a different result? Oops, you better not have said yes. So, that's how simple it is. That yes, people can be awakened. And the whole purpose of the Prem Rawat Foundation, which is the big core here for WAFA, it really is about very, very simple solutions. Extremely, extremely simple solutions. Because what happened in Ranchi, undeniable. What is happening in prisons, peace education program that is being brought out by the foundation, changing people's lives. Whose? Not only the inmates, not only the inmates, but the wardens and all the security officers as well. them watching the transformation in those inmates has actually brought on a transformation in the entire prison system. There is hope. There is hope. Prisons have become a commercial enterprise. They have. They keep building. In America, they build more prisons. They're actually completely built and run by companies. And they have been told by these companies, hey, we will put the money up, we will build you a prison, so far you guarantee us an occupancy rate. No, it's really true. So they come up with a law called 3 strikes and you're out. Are you playing baseball with people's lives? Really? Really? I mean, justice is supposed to be blind, but not headless. Here you're chopping off the head of the justice. And so, this is just how I feel, because I see these things. And I see that if all this unconscious behavior is going to go on, the efforts that are made by these wonderful people, I mean, how far is it going to go? Because there is a wall, and that wall is a very unconscious wall. And yes, that is why it is so important to include everybody. Government isn't bad. Government isn't bad. Is when the greed gets into the government, then the greed is bad. Not the governments have to be taken away, but the greed has to be taken away. I mean, it's just like when you go to a doctor and you have a pain. Say you have a pain in your kidney, and the doctor goes, I can fix this no problem, I'll just kill you. And you won't feel the pain. I mean, the patients will go, you know what? I'll take the pain, but I want to be alive. So you don't have to kill the governments. You just have to kill the greed. Take the greed out of the system. And how do you take the greed out of the system? By replacing it with a better greed, a greed for peace, a greed for fulfillment, a greed for prosperity. When we start to understand that that's what we want, that that's our power. Our power isn't machine guns. Our power is compassion. Our power is passion. Then the world, it won't take much to change it. And this is coming from a person who has witnessed it in the prison system. In the most hopeless place. And if not most hopeless place, there can be a change. A change that goes to the extent where there was a person in Greece, and he was in the prison, he had joined the peace education program, and then his date came up and he was released. After he was released, guess what he did? He went to the warden and he said, can I come back and finish the peace education program? That's people empowerment. And yes, it is possible. So it is really wonderful to see the interest of so many people in making a difference. And we are here to acknowledge that difference, that change that people want to make, and to offer our sincere thanks in terms of these awards, to support them so that more and more people will continue to make the little changes that make a big difference. Thank you very much.